Hi, I'm Bibi Jamieson. I'm a licensed therapist and relationship coach and founder of Restore to Love. Today, let's talk about Imago Theory, how your childhood shapes your relationships. Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same type of person even when you swear you're looking for something different? Maybe you've dated different people, but somehow the same themes keep playing out. You feel unseen, unappreciated, or like you're always the one trying harder. Or maybe you've noticed that certain dynamics in your relationships remind you of things that you experienced growing up, even though the people you're dating are completely different from your family. If this resonates with you, you are not alone. One of the most fascinating ways to understand why this happens is through Imago Theory, which is a powerful framework that explains how our childhood experiences shape our adult relationships, often in ways that we don't even realize. So let's explore Imago Theory, what it is, and how it shows up in real life. And most importantly, how we can break unhealthy patterns and build healthier, more fulfilling relationships. So what is Imago Theory? Imago Theory was developed by Harville Hendricks and Helen LaKelly Hunt in the 1980s. If you've ever read the book, Getting the Love You Want, that's where they lay it all out. The word imago means image in Latin. And in this context, it refers to the unconscious image we carry of love and relationships, an image that was shaped by our early childhood experiences. According to Hendricks, we unconsciously seek out partners who remind us of the people who raised us, particularly in ways that were unresolved, painful, or unmet. We don't do this consciously. We're not trying to recreate old wounds, but we are trying to heal them. How does childhood shape our attraction and relationship patterns? These patterns show up in ways that might not be obvious at first, but they create strong emotional pulls towards certain dynamics. Here's an example: the emotionally unavailable parent, which leads to the unavailable partner. Imagine you grew up with a parent who was emotionally unavailable to you. Maybe they weren't very affectionate, they struggled to express their love, or were distracted by their own issues. As a child, you may have felt unseen, like you had to work for their attention. Now, as an adult, you might find yourself attracted to partners who are distant or inconsistent. At first, they seem charming, independent, or mysterious, but over time, you realize they struggle to meet your emotional needs. Why does this happen? Your unconscious mind is trying to fix the past. It believes, if I can just get this person to love me, to choose me, to be emotionally available in a way my parent wasn't, then I will finally feel whole and healed. But instead of healing, you find yourself in a painful cycle, feeling unseen, trying harder to prove your worth, and maybe even becoming anxious or clingy, which can push them further away. Another example, the critical parent, which leaves you feeling like you're never good enough in relationships. So maybe you grew up with a parent who was highly critical. Nothing was ever quite good enough. Now, as an adult, you're drawn to partners who make you feel like you're not enough. You constantly feel like you have to earn their approval, just like you did when you were a child. The third example, the unpredictable home. This one I call the love roller coaster. If you grew up in a home where love felt unpredictable, sometimes warm, sometimes distant, you might be drawn to relationships that feel intense but unstable. If someone calm, steady, and emotionally available comes along, they might feel boring at first because it doesn't match the emotional highs that you're used to. You can get addicted to chaos and drama. How do you break the cycle? Many people believe I'm just bad at relationships, or I always attract the wrong person, or they tell me I have a type. That's just how I am. But once we explore their early experiences, the connections become clear. One client, let's call her Sarah, kept ending up in relationships where she had to prove her worth. She was drawn to emotionally distant partners and would work overtime to earn their love. When we explored her past, we uncovered that as a child, she felt like she had to work hard for her parents' attention, always trying to be the good girl, to get affection. Once she understood that her adult relationships were mirroring that early experience, she could start breaking the cycle. She began recognizing her patterns sooner, shifting her belief that she had to earn love and choosing partners who could meet her emotional needs without making her chase them. When people tell me that they have a type, when we dive deeper into Imago Theory, we find out that it's just an old wound calling them back. One of my clients told me, Bibi, I just have a type. I love strong, dominant, alpha type men, but they always end up being emotionally unavailable. When we looked deeper, we discovered that she grew up with a father who was powerful, charismatic, but emotionally distant. As a little girl, she idolized him, but never quite felt chosen by him. So in adulthood, she kept repeating that dynamic, chasing after powerful, emotionally distant men, hoping that this time she would be enough to make them stay. This is why I always say, just because someone is your type doesn't mean they're good for you. Sometimes what we're attracted to is really just an old wound calling us back to the scene of the crime. So how do we break the cycle? If you recognize these patterns in yourself, here's what you can do. First, identify your imago. Reflect on your past relationships and childhood. What patterns do you see? What emotional dynamics keep repeating themselves? Recognize the difference between chemistry and compatibility, because sometimes healthy love feels boring at first because it's stable and unfamiliar. But if you're used to the emotional highs and lows, steady, emotionally available partners might not feel exciting to you right away. And that is not a bad thing. 2, challenge the familiar. Just because you've always been drawn to a certain type doesn't mean that's what's best for you. Ask yourself, is this person meeting my emotional needs, or am I chasing an old wound? 3, heal your inner child. Many times the real work isn't about finding the right partner. It's about healing that part of you that still seeks validation from the past. This could involve therapy, journaling, or other self-reflection practices. 4, choose consciously. Instead of being pulled towards relationships out of habit, practice intentionality. I work with my clients to create a list of requirements, needs, and wants that take into account past experiences and align with the ideal version of what a healthy, fulfilling relationship will look like for them. Finally, Imago Theory doesn't mean you're doomed to repeat the past forever. What it does give you is a roadmap, a way to understand your patterns and make different choices. Relationships aren't just about companionship. They're about growth and healing. And the people we choose can either keep us stuck in old wounds or help us step into a healthier, more conscious way of loving. If you find yourself drawn to relationships that bring up old wounds, don't be discouraged. It's not a sign that you're broken, it's an invitation to heal. And when you do, you open yourself up to love that is not based on old pain, but on true connection, mutual respect, and emotional safety, not just excitement. Hi, I'm Bibi Jamieson, a licensed therapist, relationship coach, and founder of Restore to Love. You can find me on Instagram at Restore to Love or my website restoretolove.co.uk. I've just spent the day filming with MindFriend, who are absolutely lovely. They're a digital platform that provide reliable and accredited mental health content. Stay tuned for all our upcoming videos.